Hi, Sean. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good, good. Come on in.
Okay.
Did you fill out that form for me?
Yeah, I have that questionnaire for you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So, how are you feeling this week?
A little under the weather, but other
Oh,
than that, I feel good.
oh, you're sick?
Yeah, I've got a little sinus infection going on.
Okay. Well, how about from we saw each other last Tuesday to today? How's your mood been this week?
Uh, More positive, I think.
That's good. That's good. It looks like on this depression scale, it looks like you're a little bit more positive than last time, also. Well, good. Um, so, if it's okay with you, I'd like to start by going over the agenda for today's session.
Sure.
Is that okay? So, first, we're going to talk about a couple problems you want to work on and prioritize them. I want to get an update from you and see how your week was and what kind of things happened. I'm going to go over your homework, see how that went, if you thought it was good or not. And then just go right into the problems, prioritize it one more time, make sure that you are comfortable with what we're going to work on today. And then after we're done with that, we'll summarize it, review whatever homework for next week and what our plan for next week is. And then I'll ask you for some feedback on how you thought the session went today. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay. All right, great. So how about give me an update on how your week was this week?
The week overall was pretty good. Work was work. There was a couple moments where I got mad. Or not mad, but just frustrated. I didn't say anything to anybody. I just kept it inside, which probably isn't the best thing to do. Home-wise, everything was pretty good. I can't think of anything that was severe or upsetting or, I think
Okay.
overall the week was really good at home.
Well, okay, that's good. What about so that's good. So it was very positive at home. Work was a little stressful. Let's kind of think about maybe 2 or 3 problems that you would like to work on today. If you had to think of a problem you would like to work on today, let's name it.
A problem. Underappreciated.
Underappreciated. You feel underappreciated?
Yes.
Okay, so feeling underappreciated. And any other problems you would like to work on?
Um,
Specifically, something about work? About something about how you're feeling about work?
um, Unappreciated, overworked. Certain instances being taken advantage of by coworkers and by my boss, knowing that I will do whatever it takes to make sure I'm always busy, and then those moments where I'm not busy, I feel like I'm being singled out, even though the other guys aren't doing anything.
Okay. Okay, so let's just name that feeling more secure about work.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. I left you a pad and paper if you want to take any notes. I will be taking notes for you also that we can go over. But if you want to write down any homework assignments or anything like that. So really we've got, you mentioned feeling underappreciated, feeling overworked or taken advantage of, which we kind of grouped together and named feeling
More secure.
more secure. Thank you. More secure at work. Is there anything else that you would like to work on this week in particular?
Staying focused in the moment.
Okay. Staying focused. How was everything with your son this week? Last week you mentioned work on being more patient with him.
It was good.
Okay.
There was only a couple of instances, but everything was well for the most part. I could feel it getting to that moment to where I could have lost cool, but I tried to step back out of this situation and look at it and stay a little bit more calm, and instead of getting mad at the situation, kind of laugh at it and see it for what it is, and it just being a moment.
Okay, so I think if I remember correctly, part of your homework was to really work on taking a pause before you reacted to him, right? In response to, you said you wanted to be more patient with him.
Yes.
So we talked about taking a deep breath before you spoke or acted, and then after you centered yourself in the moment, and then. So do you feel like you did that this week?
Most of the time, yes.
Okay.
There was a couple times where I could have probably have done it, but I get scared, or he got scared. There was one time with a van, and he likes to swing from the back of the van door, and the door came down real quick because I wasn't expecting him to jump, and he jumped and grabbed the handle, and the door came down. It almost closed on him and me, and it scared him. And he got a little upset because of it and hit me, and then I got upset. But I think that was probably the only bad situation.
Okay. You mentioned that you did it a lot. Can you think of a time when you didn't, or I guess that's what you just described, right? So in that moment that you were just describing, you were scared and you didn't take a moment
Right.
to consider what you were saying. Okay. So you identified a feeling of being scared. Can you think of about work, or can you think of a feeling that you have, other than describing, like feeling unappreciated, is describing something. What does that make you feel? Does it make you feel sad? Does it make you feel mad? Does it make
Frustrated.
you feel frustrated? Okay. All right. So, trying to think about what problems we're going to work on. You want to feel more secure at work. You want to continue to practice being present with your son. All right, continue to practice being present. Okay. Is there anything else you would like to work on?
Being more sensitive to other people around me.
Okay. Being more sensitive to others.
Non-judgmental.
Non-judgmental. Having more empathy
Yes.
or compassion.
Yes.
Okay. Is there? We've named 3 things right now. So let's just think about how would you prioritize which one you would really like to focus on today during session.
Empathy. Because
Okay.
I think if I can get the empathy part down, maybe the rest will kind of fall in place or be easier to deal with.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to put that as your first priority. I want to suggest to you right now that it's possible that being more present is actually what will lead you to be more empathetic and lead you. And so working on being more present is a high priority also, definitely. And so right now that puts feeling more secure at work as the 3rd priority, though. Is that where you want it to be?
Yeah, because it's the least of my concerns right now.
Okay. So you have some very broad goals that are very self-reflective and open, compassionate. You're not doing little work here. So I appreciate you coming and trusting me with this work. So let's review your homework a little bit, okay?
Okay.
So I gave you those questions to think about. What did we talk about last session? What was your mood like this week compared to other weeks?
My mood, I definitely think it was a little bit more up than normal, a little bit more light-footed.
Can you think of a reason why it might have been?
I think breathing, taking a moment before reacting.
Okay. So doing the homework of breathing and centering yourself, you feel like really helped you feel more positive.
Yes.
Great. Good. Wonderful. And the other questions that you had to think about were, what happened this week that you should talk about in therapy, and what problems do you want help in solving, which we've already gone over. Over the week, did you write down, or did you think of anything about problems that you wanted help solve in therapy?
Not right at the moment. Nothing
Okay.
that comes to mind.
Okay. And then the homework that we wrote down last week was practice breathing, answer those questions, which we talked about, going back to the first question. So we talked about that you don't want to be a dad like your father was, that you want your son to feel safe and cared for and that he can do anything, and that you want your wife to respect your ability to discipline your son. Those are the three kind of specific statements that we got to at the end of talking last week. One of your homeworks was to try to just have more casual conversations with your wife, less parenting conversations and more friendly conversations.
Yes.
Were you able to do that this week?
Yeah, I think we had connected on several occasions and able to be ourselves.
Good.
And be a couple more than a parent.
Good. How did that feel?
That was nice. It was something we haven't done in a while. And it definitely made the moments that we were together more intimate and
Good.
appreciative.
Good. So the first thing about not wanting to be a dad like your father was, did you feel like you were able to do that this week?
Yeah, I think I was able to allow things to be more in his hands and let him try to control it and be there to support him rather than trying to control the situation and make it what I want it to be.
Okay. Okay, so thinking about that, and getting back to the three problems that we prioritized before. When we prioritized them before, you said that having more empathy or being more sensitive to others was your main priority to work on. And second was continuing to practice being present with your son and with your wife and at work. And so then third was feeling more secure at work, which definitely, if you can continue to practice being more present at work, you're going to feel more secure, and you're going to have more empathy. Can you think of any other problems that we should work on today?
I don't think so.
Okay. So you mentioned about, are you ready to really work on it? Okay, because we want to start looking at some automatic thoughts and kind of dig deeper into that. I have a handout for you to help you just visualize the cognitive model and how it works. And it's really, something happens, something at work happens. You have a thought about it. Whether or not you're aware of that thought is questionable. We always have these automatic thoughts or images that flash the minute something happens, and then we have a feeling that follows that. So a lot of people think that whatever happens causes that feeling, but really it's your perception or your interpretation based on your own automatic thoughts or images that are in your head that causes you to feel the way you feel about it. So if I'm walking down the street and I run into you and I keep running, you're going to have an automatic thought about that, which would be...
Well, probably that you were a jerk or that you were too worried about yourself or something of that nature.
Sure.
That nobody else mattered.
Sure, and that's definitely one way to interpret that situation. Another person with different perceptions or internal thoughts might automatically think that there's something wrong with that person and that they need help, since they were walking so quickly and didn't notice that they had bumped into you. So there's always different ways to interpret things, and it's our internal thoughts and images that kind of predict and color how we're going to interpret things. So when we look at, we can look at the instance that you talked about being scared and reacting without being present to your son. We could talk about that one. Or we could talk about something more specific about work if you would like to. But what I really want to do is I want you to try to think of a time when you had an emotion, when things were just going okay, and then all of a sudden you had an emotion. Something changed this week. Something happened. And try to think about what kind of automatic thought happened right before that emotion started.
My eyes watering, I'm sorry.
No problem.
I can't really think of anything that really made me upset.
So let's talk about the one thing that you did mention, the event with the van and your son. So you said that. Okay, can you describe the event to me again?
Yeah, we were getting out to go eat, and he has this game he likes to play where he crawls over the back seat and then has to go out the back of the van, and then he likes to grab the handle that you use to pull the door down, and he likes to swing from it.
Wow.
And most of the time I'm ready for it. Well, there was one time I wasn't expecting it, and he jumped, and I didn't have a hold of the door, and it came swinging down. I grabbed it, but I had to grab it just in the nick of time. He kind of went down to the ground. He didn't get hurt, but it scared him, and it scared me. And his reaction to getting scared was to yell at me and then hit me. And then mine was to react upon that, was to get mad and yell back and kind of lose my temper. There was no physical damage to either person done, but just I felt the anger instantly. And he probably felt it too. It was both ruled and activated by the action of being scared.
Okay, so you got scared, and then you got angry.
Right.
And he got scared, and then he got angry.
Right.
So you see how that mirrors it, right?
Yeah.
My guess is that your father had a similar pattern where maybe, as we talked about last week, where he was controlling your behaviors, and he disrespected you and didn't allow you to be. Maybe he was scared, and rather than expressing fear, he expressed anger. So I want you, for your homework this week, I want you to really pay attention to a time when your emotion changes, and try to think about the automatic thought that happens when you start to feel that emotion. And sometimes it's a thought like, I'm not good enough, I'm scared, he's going to get hurt, she doesn't respect me, I'm being taken advantage of. And sometimes it's an image. Sometimes it's, a person with a scowl on their face, or somebody getting hurt. It can be an elaborate image where something terrible happens and somebody dies, or it can just be a picture of something. But for your homework this week, really try to just try to find what your automatic thought or image is about a certain situation. You think you can do that?
Yeah.
Okay. And you can have that to help, and work on your breathing, right? And work on some questions. I would also think that to do a thought log, at least one day, just like a journal entry, just to write down what you're thinking about, maybe on a day where something happens and you have an emotional response, and you can, through pen and paper, try to explore what those automatic thoughts are. And that's all the time we have today. So I want to kind of summarize real quick. We talked about how you're feeling. We got an update on your week. Things are going very positive for you at home with your son and your wife. You're feeling more centered. You're feeling a little bit upset at work, but you wanted that to not be a top priority today. So maybe in the future that might be a top priority. And we really started to dive into what automatic thoughts are and how they happen so that we can really start to work on those so that we can achieve your goal of being more sensitive to others or more empathetic. And you're going to work on that by being present more, by taking a deep breath. Whenever you're starting to feel, whenever you're aware that you're not present, just start taking a deep breath. Does all of that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to get your feedback. How do you feel the session went today?
Good.
Is there anything that you would like to have happen differently in next session?
Maybe feel a little bit more expressive. I feel like I've been a little standoffish. I'm not sure why. I don't feel uncomfortable, but I feel like there's more to open up to or open up with, and I don't know, I feel hesitant.
Okay, that's understandable. This is only our second session. Therapy is a process, just like anything else. It's a journey, and I'm going to get to know you, and you're going to get to know me, and hopefully, the most important thing is doing the homework in between, because just 1 hour a week, when you came here today, it's hard to think back and remember what happened last week, especially if your life is going pretty well, and the little things that happen are minor. But so if you do the work at home, the goal of cognitive behavioral therapy is so that you can become your own therapist, right? My goal is to teach you the tools, the skills that you need so that you can really be your own therapist and help yourself and get more compassionate and more empathetic and more present in your life so that you can enjoy it more.
I would like that.
Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see you next week then.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.